Good morning. Good morning.
Hey, what's going on?
Wow.
Guess what, everybody?
I know what's up.
It is time for some Car Guy Coffee. This is Lou Ramirez, the Car Guy.
This is Fred Lenar's Subprime Hero.
And we are brewing solutions with a very special guest that is just coming to join together with us to illuminate a light into this business that just can't be stopped. We are brewing solutions, and we are excited to have David Villa inside of the cafe with us today. So do something smart. Help your brothers out. Help your sisters out. Tag a car guy. Tag a car gal.
People know.
And get some people up in here watching this. Share this around while you watch this intro, and we get stretched and ready to forget, focus, fly.
Get excited.
And do some conversations over a cup of coffee.
It's time.
Let's fly.
Let's brew. Bam.
Car gals, hopefully you went ahead and tagged a couple of car guys and car gals and shared that around a little bit. We just put that out there. Do what it is that you can to get yourself prepared, get your hearts ready, get your minds locked in and focused to be able to take some nuggets and take some truth with you into the world that you get to impact today. I'm just crazy excited. I'm so inspired. I'm going to probably overtalk a whole lot, but I got somebody that I really just want to just dig into and listen and actually glean from because he's been such an inspiration to us.
I definitely know that he has
somebody we're watching and trying to take our next steps in not necessarily trying to be, but trying to have the type of reputation and trying to have the type of heartbeat of effective
That's a great way to
growth inside of an industry that needs more people that are of the light. Okay, so car guys, car gals. I mean, again, I'm going to overtalk about how excited I am, and I'm sure that you guys can't imagine. But I know Fred's excited to be here, and we got to get this cup of coffee in because we got Mr. Lead or Be Lunch himself inside of the cafe. I'm
you ready?
I'm ready. Let's bring him in. Bring him in.
We have
car guys, car gals. David Villa is in here. What's going on? Game changer himself.
What's up, guys? Man, I'll tell you what, man, your intro made me dance. I was sitting there just going along with it, and I'm like, that's really I love that, man.
We enjoy that intro. We love it. It gets us pumped up. And that video, we don't even have to watch the video. Just hearing that sound gets Lou and I just so energized to do these interviews. And we're so excited to have you here, David. Thank you so much.
So excited.
It's my honor, man.
Somebody that I think is a pretty smart guy that we can all agree with, Albert Einstein. This is one of my favorite quotes from Albert Einstein. Is that the athletes of God are dancers, or dancers are the athletes of God. I love that. I'm such a dancer at heart, and I enjoy that type of smart people talk. That it's just simple as enjoy yourself, dance, keep smiling, have a good time. that is a culture that we're trying to definitely breed. And man, we just want to caffeinate everybody's culture. Welcome to the cafe, David. Welcome.
Well, thank you, man. Thank you. I'm about to have a Starbucks delivered right here on the desk in a couple of minutes. I can't wait. So
get you some.
Absolutely. I want one of those. I want something from you guys, man. If you send me something, I don't know if you guys had mugs or whatever you got. I want to put one on I collect them. I got a whole shelf of like hundreds of mugs. I want to put one up there, but I was watching that. I said, that's really cool. That's
swag is on its way to you.
The swag is definitely on its way to you.
Nice.
For sure. You know, let us know. We'd love to send that. We'd love to send, we'll send that out. We'll get your address after it's all done. Oh yeah. Forgive, focus, fly. Of course. You know, speaking of that,
we're going to do something that we believe is the ultimate formula to making sure that we can keep the 3 F's in our life. Because we've been forgiven, we should forgive. The power of forgiveness gives us the opportunity to free up our hands so that we can focus on where it is that we are destined to go, where it is we dream to go, and where it is that we're sent to go. And then we release, trust that we are going to go to the heights that we've only dreamt of, and fly to these great levels, and then keep growing.
That's
growing.
right.
And to keep growing, you know, you got to flap them wings. You got to keep it moving. And it's exciting that we get to have so many people, like you saw in the video, do that with us. And it's truly what we want to make sure gets deposited to everybody that we do get the chance to meet. It's forgive, focus, fly, and keep growing. So we appreciate you for joining us. But let's get ready to do that. Car guys and car gals all over the place. Go ahead and put your hands on the shoulders one time. Ready? And you're going to wipe it off on 3. 1, 2, 3. Forgive. Focus. Get right here. Get right here. Give me focus. And fly. Bam. And keep growing. Keep growing. Yeah.
Growing.
Soaring. Check him out.
I love it. He's flying. He's soaring right now. And that's something I think David's been doing his whole life is soaring. And he understands what it means to soar. What it means to soar, you know, is to forgive, you know, just like Lou said, to focus on it. And then you can start flying. And David, you are flying to some heights that a lot of people are watching. And we're so excited to have you on the show. You are a good example of a leader that leads by example. Right? That sounds funny that I said it that way, but you do. You know, I see what you're doing. I see how much your team loves you. I see how much your guests love you, and all the people that you keep bringing in. You got people like Glenn Lundy coming into your show. I mean, I've seen people that we've had. Justin Jarrett came out to your studio, did a show there about a year or so ago. You know, and I love Justin. He's a great young man. He's a great rising star in the car business as a general manager. But that's just like a couple people. I mean, you can name one after another. And what all you've done with all those people is just bring light to them. You brought more light to them. You helped share that light, which in turn made your internal light get bigger. And I absolutely love what you're doing. I'm excited to have you here. We're going to ask you these 5 questions. And these 5 questions, we're going to get to know you a little bit more. I want to hear about your backstory. I want to hear about how you got to where you're at. You know, even if it's something that people hopefully it's something that no one's ever heard before. We'll find out here in a little bit.
Hope we get an exclusive.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. I know that you've been on a few things, but you know, the first question I like to ask everybody, David, is their purpose and their why. What drives them and what motivates them? Because you know, like Simon Sinek said during his TED Talk, he said it all starts with the why, and I think it is true. So, what is your why? What is your purpose?
Yeah, thank you guys for having me on, man. It's an honor. So my purpose. I mean, I'm a man of faith. I'm a person of faith, and I don't say that, you know. I say that with humility and gratefulness because so my why is, you know, to please my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, to be an example, you know, that he's called me to be. And so I think, so with that though, so it's not enough to just say that. If he's my why, what's his why? His why is to touch people. Right. And so if that's my why, then I've got to take on his. And so my why extended to this earth is first, I think, in the order of after God, family, you know, as a person who's been married 27 years, has 3 beautiful children who are grown, and one's married and I have a first granddaughter and who's 11 months to yesterday. And then one who's engaged, and then my son. And just so my why is them, and then my people that work here. And then just trying to touch, you know, as many people with the gospel, bringing this message of Christ, bringing a message of faith into marketplace, you know, into what I do. So my why is to see people reach their full potential.
That's huge. To be so committed to that on a daily basis inside of this industry that has been crying out for something real, crying out for something genuine. Especially the employees that get brought in early, right? I mean, these are such impressionable people at different times of their life, right? And what it is that they see of people that make great money, that sell a bunch of cars or solve a lot of problems, whichever way it is, they're looking for more than that. What does your marriage look like? What does your relationship with your kids look like? I can't spend enough time talking of the way that I would actually hear people verbalize that they're going on into their evening to neglect their family and to neglect their wife, and it was almost like a trophy to see how many divorces people had. You know what I mean? I saw that in the military, in certain of the job types, right? It's like they wore that like it was a great success, rather than people championing those that had fiery, great marriages and had a great relationship with their children. You know what I mean? There was a lot that we had to juggle with trying to get a grip on in this business. And there weren't too many people that would make sure to prioritize those things to the people they were mentoring, like you're doing today. And you get the opportunity to launch that type of mentorship into the onto the eyes of many and into the ears of many by these great tools that we get to have. And that's why I feel as though there's so much that's happening in that shift to where you're able to actually be more sought out with that truth than you are actually having to go seek opportunities to spread that around. You know, used to be the evangelist would have to find a bunch of churches to show up to. Now a bunch of people can find the evangelist, you know, or find the person that is actually saying that truth. You can Google your name real quick, right? You can find people that are of faith. If somebody's coming in the car business now, they can say, how does a Christian car guy do this? You know what I mean? These are things that we didn't have earlier in the day, and it was always such a challenge to glean that light, to shine that light, to be that bold about your faith in a business where you were trying to change the model of whether you were taking advantage of somebody or you were actually helping them out. You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, you know, there's a lot of compromise that has occurred in my life that I screwed up on, and I should have been a little more bolder in my youth while dealing with different mentors. You know, some of the motivations got jacked up, and I, you know, the Father had to get me back in place. You know what I mean? Hey, remember what it is that you're doing here. Remember,
we've all jacked up, man. I tell you it. And, you know, another thing too, thinking growing up in like church and ministry, things like that, you were talking about like the evangelist had to go to a church and I thought I had to do that for a while. That was my model, but, you know, and I had an identity crisis, you know what I mean? Like what am I supposed to do here? I have this, you know, I feel like I'm called to talk to people about God, but you know, it's not cutting. I'm not making any money. Not that you did it for money, but I'm traveling around. We're broke. When we first got married, busted, disgusted, small children. My wife's like, you need to do something, you know? And so God was trying to get me to allow him to break the mold. And, you know, and so today talking to more people than I've ever talked to, and I still do a lot of stuff inside of church, but you know, you know, I think there's a lot of people out there that have that identity crisis. Like, it's like, you know, I have this call in my life. That means I've got to be in a church. No, 99% of ministry happens outside of the walls of a church on Sunday.
Come on, say that.
I love it. And that's exactly well put, because a lot of people, you're right. You do have to believe you have to be in the church to do those things, but no, you can send that message. You could be that message. You can be of faith. You could be a man that really cares, or a woman that cares about other people, and do it without being in a church. Matter of fact, it's most important, because churches, most people only go twice a week, maybe Wednesday and Sunday, right? Yeah. So the rest of the week, you got to still put that out there. You still got to be a person of faith. You still have to share love, and you still have to bring the word. And I tell you, it's actually way more important, you know, to do it every single day, and it's to do it in different ways. You know, whether you're doing it at your workplace, inside your family's home, with your friends and family, with people that you connect with. Now we're talking about the internet. We're talking about people that follow you, or maybe you follow them. It's always good to keep that good word out there. And the message is just, it's to be happy and to understand that faith, that good things are to come, that the challenges are there for us to learn from and to grow from. And once those challenges are over, you're going to have abundance of greatness, right? And you know, he wants you to have abundance. He wants you to have all these things because you deserve it. But of course, faith without works, right,
is dead.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the key. And but it's that in everything. And I think that obviously if you live by that message and you do put that and apply that to everything in life, amazing things happen, and I know Lou's a testament to it. I know I am. Obviously you are. There's a lot in the whole world is, when you see
something, man, that you might have heard this, it was a churchism, growing up in ministry and things like that and youth and what have you. But, a lot of people may have never heard this and, but you may be, and just kind of hear this for a second, that you may be the only Jesus somebody sees, the only Bible someone reads. And I'm not saying we're Jesus, but he's physically not here. He left and said, "Hey, I'm going and I'm going to, give you my spirit. I'm going to live in all men everywhere." The physical man, Jesus, was only in one small area of the world for 3 years of major ministry. So you may, and I may be the only, gospel that someone hears, so to speak. So I think that not only is powerful, man, because, we're our testimony is not for not just for us to say, man, this, but it's for other people, and it can set people free, and people need to hear it. I can't tell you how many times people have reached out, don't even know who they are. I mean, people that follow on Facebook or whatever that, and I don't know most of those people personally. Their message, and I mean, I've had a chance to talk to people that messaged me at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, and I mean, want me to pray with them and talk to them, and they were, just all kinds of things. So, absolutely. Man, it's there. You don't ever discount your story, because people can't relate to someone. I don't want to talk to anybody that doesn't have a limp. You know what I mean? If you don't have a limp, if you're not walking around with a limp spiritually, you know what I'm saying? Like in life, don't even talk to me, man. I mean, look, if you got it all together, I can't relate to you. I can't relate to you.
That's right. Absolutely.
I love that. It's well put. Yeah.
That's so the car business on the side of he's here to solve problems on the car guy side, right? So he has a heartbeat that says there's a problem with you, and I have a actual product that can suit that problem. But I also have a vehicle that'll help you get where you're actually going. And it's because of my connection to the one that has the keys, right? Mm-hmm. He has the keys to death, hell, and the grave. He has the keys to all the things that it is we're needing to see unlocked in our life. And ultimately, as long as we are with him, we're good. And you know what I mean? It's not necessarily him being with us. We know where we stand. Wherever he's at, it's where I am. And the thing that so many people get caught up and stuck in is that they think that a ministry has to be in the church. You're so right on that. That's I'm so not wanting to settle for the thought that the only time you can talk about the Lord is when society says you have to. They told so many people to take out of your business area conversations of religion and politics. And me personally, there is a strategic way to be a gentleman about speaking of your faith, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But I also believe that people that are a mile wide and an inch deep don't want to have the conversations that are a mile deep, and an inch wide, that they're not as firmly grounded to where they have that certainty to engage in that conversation. So it's going to raise tension up. Right. And same thing with politics. The politics side gets into the mix, and usually the debate is over things that are falsehoods. The fight is over falsehoods. It's never what's actual, genuine, and tangible,
or what matters. It's never about what matters.
Right. And that's where we find ourselves trying to make sure that no matter where it is that we are, we do what it is we're called to do. We actually show that light and love for the Father. And that love is always coming without judgment. That love is always coming without a finger of rebuke. That love is always coming to say, hey, whatever it is that you're carrying, I want to take you on. I'm still the Father. You put your arms up to me. I'm coming for you. And letting people know that there could be that family relationship inside of your business life, inside of your relationship with your customer life, and it all actually stems from having the altar left at your house, right? Obed-Edom, right? Having that sitting there and building from that point forward and spilling over into where it is.
Someone's got some Bible history in it, man. Obed-Edom. That's pretty deep right there. Now that's a story that not everybody Preach his own, but that's come on now.
You gotta go short. But I mean, I'm more of a I'm more of a street preacher. I've gone for years saying that I don't preach on the carpet, I preach on the concrete. And and that's more of who it is that I reach out to, is those that are not hearing, those that are not coming to church. Why? Because they don't trust people.
But you know something is something that, not to get deep, because I mean, it could be, because I know you got people watching. You said the word, Obed Edom, and if I don't quickly say something after that, people are like, what's he saying? Right. But one thing about it, this is maybe to talk to someone that's watching this, that's a business person, that's a Christian. Because for a long time, guys, I was a Christian that owned a business, but today we're a Christian business. We're a business of faith. It's a difference. And that doesn't mean that we, interview someone and be like, you gotta be saved to work here, but I tell you what, you work here long enough, you're going to get saved probably. But the Obed Edom thing, I think that to maybe the Christian business person that's watching going, man, how do I implement that just beyond me being a Christian? No one said you got to bring a Bible out and, hit somebody over the head with it. But the premise of that story of Obed Edom is that when the presence of God, right, the Ark of the Covenant was in his house, everything was blessed. And then so much so that when David, right, the king, went to go get the Ark of the Covenant back from him, and he left, Obed Edom went with it. Think about this for a second. He left his house. He left his house and his family, and he's like, "Listen, I don't want to live without the presence of God. We're leaving our house, and we're going to go with you." And that's. So you put God in the middle of what you do, He'll blow your mind. The phones will ring, and people will come in, and I'm telling you, the favor of God is a big deal. So I think that when we learn how to tap into that and not be ashamed of it, man, you're talking about Solomon's story right there, right? People will start figuring out what you're doing. Anyway.
Right. And the boldness that comes from that. Again, a person properly identified does not have the battle of certainty. Yeah. When they know whose they are, when they know who loves them and who it is that their source of love comes from, it's very easy to forgive, focus, and fly. You know what I mean? It's very easy to apply good business practices that take care of your customer. I do want to quote Proverbs. Proverbs 22:1 says, "A beautiful reputation is more desired than great riches, and to be esteemed by others is more honorable than to own immense investments." The word, I mean, very smart, guys. That's very smart words. That is definitely the word of God, and is making sure that you guys get it and understand that your reputation is what's going to help make the room for you. You trying to seek out, just the sale, just the completion of the transaction, just being transactional based is not going to be what builds your reputation. What builds your reputation is how you put relationships and prioritize those relationships. And we got the chance to talk on your show, and we spoke about the cornerstone. If that cornerstone's not in place, other things are not going to line up. Just the rest of life is not going to come together. And it's a great honor to just blow wind into the sail and clap and amen. People like David that are here that are doing great things, not just for the car business, not just for your business, but for the kingdom. Okay, we may have a lot going on inside of the world, nation this and nation that, and people torn apart, but we're part of a kingdom, and Daddy's the king, and we get the chance to do great things because we've been empowered by him to do it. This is our world, folks. This is your world. You put it together the way that it is you're supposed to do it, and trust the Father to bring the rest, right? He brings the growth. But no, I'm so excited to have you in here.
It really is. I'm super excited. I know Lou's pumped. You can tell Lou's like all about this, and I'm very much so stoked. But Lou, you two, I mean, I could tell you, I've watched a lot of your stuff, David, and then I listened to Lou talk. You two are very similar-minded people, and don't get me wrong, we're all very similar-minded. But the way you implement what you do and the way he implements what he does, that's why I couldn't wait to have you on the show, because I knew that Lou was going to just have a blast, because this is exactly what we needed to have. This is exactly what the nation needs right now. I know we're going through so many different things over the last year. We're going through all these things, but people, have faith. Have faith. We need to have faith more than ever right now. Yeah. They're trying to do, there's all kinds of reasons why people are trying to take this away and pull that away. But you know what? When you have faith, the good's coming. You know that the best is yet to come. And it is. Just keep working towards it and be faithful. I love your answer to our question to why. Yes. Having that first person, you brought God in immediately. You just said, boom, I do it for the glory, you know,
Yeah.
and what I'm for his glory, I should say.
Right.
And you're absolutely right. And I know that about you. And I love that because when you answer that way, I know it's true. There's just no doubt. That's exactly how I had a feeling it would come out. And I think that is a great way to start with your purpose, right? And I think that's a really good way to segue into our second question. I know
Part two. So with that, being that that's where it is that you are in your faith and where it is that you're cornerstoned at, it brought you to the car business. David, what brought you to the car business to champion this message for the kingdom ultimately?
Yeah. So, well, I mean, and I'll say this too, you know, just a little back. I mean, college dropout, and I can't even really call it a normal. Normally, when someone says college dropout, they went like 2 years and dropped out. You know, I went like 2 months. You know, so I don't really know if I ever went too much, but you know, barely. Not. I mean, and I'm pretty smart. You know, I think you know it got by the grace of God, but you know, school wasn't my thing. And so I got married very young, had kids, and so I was thrown into very quickly having to do something. Here's just, you know, some people know this, a lot of people that have known me for a while. I've never been on the blacktop side of the car business, and you know, but I'm not your typical vendor. I've been in the car business, in this side of the business, working with dealers, and even training for 25 years, if not 94. So maybe a little longer than that. And so I've been on the marketing side. You know, to be honest, I didn't think I'd stay long in it. It wasn't like I had an affinity for the car business in the beginning, or, you know, I was a salesperson. You know, growing up in the younger days, my dad owned an advertising agency back in that time frame that worked with dealerships, did direct mail for dealerships, and I started selling dealers at like 22 years old and worked for him. And about a year and a half later, I wanted to get into ministry. You know, my mom's side of the family were all preachers and ministers, and that's kind of where that identity crisis started. So went to my dad and said, I'm leaving, you know, because I want to kind of do my own thing, you know, just to make a little bit of money so I can pursue ministry. And he helped me get into business. And, you know, the truth of the matter is I didn't work very hard. I just did what I needed to do to make a little bit of money. So fast forward past that, a few years later, probably 2004. So it was, you know, 16 years ago, I got serious about the business, and God really began to show me this is a ministry and what I called you to do. And now it took a long time for me to, you know, probably until 2011 or 12 before I started really being not a Christian that owned a business, but a Christian business. And that's where really things started exploding in the last 8 years. But so anyway, got into that business, just started seeing, you know, obviously the lack of just God in the business, a lot of hurting people, but really good people that I think, you know what reminds me of, guys? Like the disciples, like when Jesus picked disciples, he picked jacked up people. I mean, like the people that were like the most discounted, voted like least likely to make it, you know, just jacked up people, you know, wasn't the religious people. And that's another thing about this whole industry.
Come on.
You know, people like frown that people like Kanye, you know, when he came out, you know, a few months ago, the church was like, oh, well, you know, man, let me tell you something. God wants to use someone like that, you know, because he scoffs at the religious, you know, nose up in the air people. And the car business is full of people like that. They're salt of the earth. They're good people. They just have some issues, you know, and I think God's attracted to it. And so, you know, over the course of the years, you know, obviously from a position of helping dealers and being lucrative and dealers spend money, it worked out from that standpoint. But, you know, I guess, you know, the thing is when money doesn't motivate you anymore, you make enough money, you know, you better have a why, going back to your first question. And I think this is a really good industry to take, you know, to take your why, you know, if you're a believer, and implement it into touching people's lives and seeing them change. Because let me tell you something, you get the people in the car business and get them saved and get radically, you know, wanting to do something for God. Watch, it's all over. You know, it's all over, man. So I got in the business that way.
That's
awesome.
Guys, he plugged in so many things there and left it off with such a great explanation of what can happen with the power of people that know how to sell can start to make believers out of people. See, that's ultimately what I believe most preachers of the word are doing.
Yes.
They are selling you on the understanding that there is an opportunity and an open door for you to have an encounter. They are preaching that just like a salesperson is preaching to you the opportunity that you have to upgrade and have a better life because of this one vehicle that you're looking at right now. But you are, as the salesperson, designed to make a believer out of them in the truth that you're telling them, because you're coming from a place of true conviction that you've experienced that this is the better way for them. You're the trusted leader, the advisor, not a script reader or leader, right? And in the gospel, we are designed to go say the good news, spread the good news. That's it. We're here to spread the good news. That's ultimately the command that we've been given. Love each other, love our Father, and go spread some good news. And from the marketing standpoint, what your whole mission to do is to put out there the joy of doing business with a dealer, right? The joy of being able to make that process come into where you can get what it is that you're looking for. Just like in the kingdom, I promise, if you find the Father, you find everything else that you didn't even know you were looking for. And once that happens, and once that faith connection occurs, that's it. You're sold for life, your family for life. And you're bringing that type of culture into the car business, which is key, that people understand that that's ultimately what we're doing. We're making believers. And when salespeople start looking at the world as, hey, we get the chance to make more believers out of people. Boom. Again, we're such a time as this. I'm excited that we get to do this, even if it's just us having a conversation about the things that the Father's doing, in the faith. It builds us all up. You know, it does. I mean? It's so much fun.
It brings, in a time in the world where it seems super dark out there right now, like where things just seem like it's just going backwards. You could talk about a number of things that's going on in the world right now that people are using as excuses to give up. When I look at all these things, and I look at it as an opportunity to grow, an opportunity to, to bring more light into this world, an opportunity to show that there's so much great things going on, and the thing is, everything has a swing side. When things are bad, you're going to have this amazing good happen to you. So you have to understand what you have here to get to what you want here, right? So once you have this here and you find love in what you have here and understand there's something to learn here, there's something to share here, there's something to do this with. Once you get that, you start to shift, and it turns into, now I've turned that negative into one of the most amazing things. I think we've all, if you've been on this planet longer than, if you're an adult and you've been through life, you've seen that. You've seen where something that's been so bad seems so tragic, but then you reflect back at it later and you go, I'm so glad that happened. Right. That was the best thing that ever happened. If that didn't happen, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. Right. And I think that you're definitely a testament to that. I know Lou and I both are. And so, and during that time, you've met people. I know you've been influenced. You've been a man of faith for, I'm going to assume, pretty much your whole life. Obviously, we all go through our phases of, mistakes, and our phases of doubt, our phases of this or whatever you go through. But there's always been somebody there that's helped you. And I'm not just talking about God. I'm talking about somebody in human form right now that's in your life. Maybe not current, but somebody that influenced you. So my third question for you is, who's been your biggest influence for you? Who's helped you stay on that path of glory that that you need to be on the most in your life?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think, and I say, I'm not trying to get points here, because she doesn't, I don't think she really gives points. 27 years, I haven't really figured out how to figure out if I got points or not. So it's not a point thing. It's looking at it. It's, we're opposite, and God brought in my wife, and I looked at it before, guys, and then I'll move on to a couple other people, but as pouring water, so to speak, on the vision, like I'm a visionary, and my wife would be this person that would always caution, and I looked at it as like, man, are you ever gonna just get on my side here and be like, yes, I think you should do it or whatever. But I come to learn that God balanced someone out that just tells me the truth, even if I don't want to hear it, and I don't want to hear it sometimes, most of the time, all the time. So, her really, really is somebody that, that when you learn to embrace that, that's a good thing. Over the course of years, I mean, I haven't been to too many churches, but I've served at different churches, and pastors have always been a really big thing. One of the, my current pastor, he's actually somebody that I haven't really had a chance to get to know too much. We're going to a Bucks game this week and together. It's a huge church, over 5 locations. But what he has done is helped inspire my daughter serves there, some leadership. Even though I'm already doing that and have done some of those things, it's inspiring to see how he's running a very healthy church with very healthy processes in place. You can tell. And so there's even those types of things. I think you need to be aware and open your eyes to everything that God can use to help you or mentor you. But of course, I've had men of God, in my life over the course of years, and God's kind of shifted some of those people for periods of time where they would just tell you the truth and shoot you straight and just be examples of people in faith. Just a couple of people that I follow their stuff, and look at what they do. Pastor Jensen Franklin in Gainesville, Georgia, pastors Free Chapel. He's a minister, but he does a lot of things within business. I follow a lot of stuff that he puts out, and I think that he's very inspiring when it comes to him. Stephen Furtick, I think he's somebody that I follow, but from a business standpoint, it's very difficult. There's not a lot because I'm not big on all or a lot of the kind of so-called guru people that are out there, because I think things, I think that they may be successful or maybe have money, but I'm very cautious because I know that ultimately without the Lord in your life, that type of success is fleeting. And it's not lasting, and you never fill a void with it. So I'm very cautious to really put serious people in my life that do have faith. It doesn't mean I can't get ideas or inspired from other people, sure. But so there's a people like that I do follow, and of course John Maxwell has been around forever. When it comes to business, but I'm gonna tell you what, I think that there's a place for the newer people to step into roles like that and be those individuals in today's age and I really feel like that God's looking for people like that as well. So
absolutely. I agree. I think he's looking for people like that every single day. I think that there's not enough. I think even if we had an abundance, there's a more of abundance of it would be better. The whole world was doing, how great would that be? But, obviously that message is great. I love what you said there. You said that there's a lot of people that you take notes from. When it comes to business, you're going to be a little bit more picky because, some people's message may seem like what it is, but we in the background may not be. So you want to really do your research on what they're saying and what they're doing. One thing that you're doing, you're doing that right now. So you definitely are. If you were outside, you weren't David Villa, you would be looking at David Villa right now. I know that. And that's what's so great about you. And that's what your message is about. I love watching your little 1-minute clips, your Monday motivations. I like listening to those. You definitely bring a joy to it. I take note from that kind of stuff. With what I do my quick brews on a daily. I do my lot walks. I do stuff like that with my team. But I learn from the greats. People like David Villa, Glenn Lundy's. There's a lot of you all out there that are just doing some amazing stuff. Not enough though, like you said. So there is a great void that can be placed, and I think you're right. I think the Lord is looking for people to fill those spots, but he's also being picky about it. Make sure that because once you get it, that abundance and that light's going to hit you and you're going to be so overwhelmed. You're going to be able to pour all this extra that you have to everybody. Right. And that's what's needed. And people need to do that. But you got to, even when you're at that level, there's still room for improvement. There's still room for growth. And that's what's the beautiful part about life is that no matter where you get, you could always get somewhere else. And I absolutely love that. And I can see that's what you're doing. And it's a beautiful thing. That's why life is so great. Life is fun. Life is it's something different behind every door you open, but as long as you have that faith and you have a good base, good foundation that's been built just right for you. So this way, as you're building your house, as this house is being built through life, you're putting all the right stuff. Even if you got a rotten piece of wood that comes in here, well, guess what? The foundation's so good that rotten piece of wood can be thrown away and you could throw something else in there eventually, right?
That's right.
And that's definitely a great message to have. So I love it.
It's good. Even that rotten piece of wood sometimes
a rotten piece of wood could be something amazing. You're right.
It could be put back
by Romans 8, man. Right? Romans 8, right? Yeah. All things work together for good. God takes the good, the bad, the ugly, and puts it all together and beautiful. I mean,
I was definitely that rotten piece of wood.
Me too, brother. Me too.
Oh man, and it's that's what again is so affirming when you know where it is he's taken you from, when you know what kind of mess you have, and he embraced you anyway. And the same thing with the grace that we give to our customers and being a subprime hero and doing the things that we do for clientele and people that are needing to be able to buy something. We're not here to judge them for the way that they did it before. That's not what we're designed to do. We're here to help take on what it is that they said their issue is, and find a solution. I believe you're either doing one or two things. You don't really have really problems that are just problems. You have problems with creating ideas. A problem will remain a problem until an idea comes. You speak about the wife, and she keeps it real and she keeps it true, and then we make the adjustments we can to make sure that they're happy, right? I mean, during this coffee adventure, which you can get some coffee, guys, by going to cardiaccoffee.com. Shameless plug. But the coffee things and the apparatuses are all over my kitchen, right? My wife is like, Lou, I need my kitchen back. I need my kitchen back. I need my counters back. And so we make this whole other room, right? And not other room, but we take this wall and we make this whole cafe thing to where everything has its place and it looks nice. And she gets all, puts the woman touches all over it. And it's fantastic now. Great. My daughter gets involved. She buys us a new Keurig, which was such a blessing. My goodness, I got big kids like that. That's, I mean, it really, really humbles me. But all of that came together and we had a problem. It took then an idea, then agreement on that idea, and then it then brewed something, right? So one can chase 1,000, two can chase 10,000. The amplification of the voice and the trumpet for the kingdom is so great. The more of us that get together and start to speak of what potential we have when we actually give God access, where it is that we can actually be lifted to if we give him access.
People have to realize that what you're doing and what we're doing, and this just hit me when you said that. All we're doing is where Revelation says, you're made overcomers by the blood of the Lamb, your word or your testimony. We're just testifying. What you just said there, we're not trying as much to talk people into it as we are as just, this is what's happening to me. This is what I'm experiencing. And I talked a minute about Solomon. That's one of my favorite stories in the entire Bible, because the guy could ask for anything, and God said, what do you want? And he said, I want wisdom. And God gave him wisdom, riches, and fame. And he was so blessed by by God that all the rulers everywhere, right, came to him and paid him and said, tell me your secret. So think about that for a second. Like his testimony, right? His testimony made room. And that's all we're doing. We're not trying to talk someone into something as much as we are just sharing our experience. And you can be part of that. That's what's crazy about it. That's what testimony is, really.
And using the gift that you've been given.
I love that you said that, because it's so true. Since I've known Lou's never tried to force anything on anyone. He just gives his testimony, explains why it's helped him lift up to where he's at, why his family life is so great when they share the word of God together, when they share faith together, and so on and so forth. And that spreads through his whole family, through his friendships, and the way that he is with other people. I know I'm talking about Lou. I'm very much the same way, but I'm talking about him because this is what it's all about. That Lou's one thing that Lou's always been has been a rock. He's always been there, and he's always been what he says he is. He's never changed. He's never altered that. He's always been true to his word. So when he says this stuff, he means that stuff. Now his story, it's Lou's story of why his faith is so strong is powerful to me, and I understand why he does that. And his faith got super strong during that time. It had to do with his daughter, Sophia, when she was born. And so, long story short, she's healthy, she's lovely, and it's all because of God, and no doubt about that.
Definitely grown in faith since, right?
Right.
She's the one that bought the Keurig.
She is, and she is the one now, now just much like you, his kids are all grown. He's got one left that's getting ready to graduate this year. I have one that's 17. I only have one child. I'm not as fortunate as you guys are. Lucky y'all. But the one is, I'm blessed, and I have the greatest kid in the world. I'm very lucky. But, we're all going through those things. We've seen our kids grow. We've seen what it is when you put faith inside them and you show them that light, and then you see how they encourage their friends and how much love they spread and all this stuff. It's the base of it. The base of all of it is just be good. Be good to each other.
Good,
do unto others what you want unto you, right? And that's exactly what you have taught your children. I'm sure you have with yours. We've done that with our team members. We've done that with our friends. We've done all those things together. And it's a testimony. And this, like we're saying, what we're talking about here is not, hey, you better do this or your life is going to, no, it's not that. It's just explaining how amazing life is when you have the right base, when you have the right foundation, when you're doing the right things, and you have good faith.
I mean, that's you touched it earlier, David, when speaking of the word of our testimony. The blood covers, and the word of our testimony helps us to be overcomers. So that's why it's so important that we share what it is that we've come through, where it is that we've been,
Yep.
how we got where we are, because that's the testament of faith. That's how the faith has been passed down over the years. And for the record, everybody, just about everybody throughout the scriptures was a serious screw up on a different level and has shown the power that
That's
God
why it's so
has
awesome, the
to
stories.
be able to
Yes.
achieve great things with people that the world would write off.
Well, matter of fact, the one guy the one guy, we call I don't know his name. The Bible just calls him rich young ruler. You know what I mean? That one guy that was supposedly had it all together comes to Jesus, with this haughtiness, like, hey, so I've obeyed every commandment that you've got. I've obeyed them all. And I've done this and I've done that and I've done this. He's bragging. And he goes, so, what do I need to do? And Jesus said, go sell everything you have and follow me. It's not that Jesus was saying you can't have money. He just knew that was the one thing that the one thing that was preventing that guy. And so guess what the guy did? Turned around and walked away. You know what I mean?
He walked away sad.
That's right.
Right.
So, so Jesus not only uses imperfection, he rejects people that aren't willing to admit it. I mean, it's just, and you go, and somebody could be watching this like, man, but you know what? I grew up that way, but I've jacked up my life and, God's not going to forgive me. Well, Simon Peter, denied him. Right. And, Jesus said, you're going to deny me. He denied him. Here's the thing. He denied him right before 50 days before he stood up and said, hey, and said, this is that was spoken by the prophet Joel. 50 days before he stood up and preached and basically gave the first message of the modern church at that time, and 3,000 people got saved 50 days before he denied Jesus. So he jacked up and God used him 2 months later,
Awesome.
So, I mean, God will use you in spite of your weaknesses. And matter of fact,
he will forgive you instantly once you take him and once you believe in him, right? And it doesn't matter how, that's the whole forgive thing. It doesn't matter how horrible a person that you believe you were, no matter what it was, no matter what that sin is, no matter what troubled you in the past, the moment that you accept, it is all lifted off of you.
Done.
Forgiven forever. Yeah. You never have to worry about it again. And that's such a powerful statement. And it's so true. It's amazing because when you do that, you feel that. It's just like an instant, it's gone.
Yes.
It's gone. And it's so, and now, like you said, now you can fly and focus on things in the future, right? And man, I love that. This is such a good testimony.
And I mean, again, we can keep talking on this all day.
We
It's
can.
exciting. I can't wait to actually just get around, put an arm around a brother. But I do want to kick into another gear real quick, just for the sake of making sure that people can take something additional from this and implement it into their business. So on this 5-liner, I want to know what David would say on the side of, and again, just his name is David, the beloved. I mean, folks, just the testimony on that name itself, Jesus had to come from the bloodline of David. And when we talk about royal screw ups, you know what I mean? He royally screwed up, to get his wife by way of killing his great warrior, you know what I mean? And then still being the one that gets to have the rank called the one after God's own heart. But he is firmly identified as being beloved. Again, folks, being identified in this business is the key piece that helps you to be effective. If you don't know where you are without your name tag on, without your shirt on, without the brand on, if you don't know who you are, it's going to be hard for you to convey a message to help somebody else upgrade who they are and what they all pay for. But with that, what nugget of wisdom would you be able to pour out to the side of somebody trying to make sure that they're taking on somebody new? So we're talking to people because there's so many people that are jumping into the car business now, right? The job market has spread open and there's so many new onboarding people coming through. What would you say as the sales manager to the salesperson relationship? What message would you try to get to them on the side of the importance of them marketing themselves and using the tools that are available to do so? What would you say to those managers that are trying to find the way to empower their salespeople? What would you tell what bit of advice would you give them to find themselves in how they create their digital presence? I know that's very layered. Yeah. But
no, it's good. No, it's actually really, so I'll say this, because I'm speaking to your audience and same with our audiences and things like that. Meaning there's, most of the people that are going to be watching this will probably appreciate this answer, so I think that you're trying to get better. If you're watching your podcast, you're already trying to get better and you're trying to pick up on ideas. That's why they're watching you guys. So I'd say, number one, make sure that, you learn from what we've gone through here and realize that there's a lot of opportunity, and it's all about, your people. So I think leadership's a really big deal, first of all. So as you're bringing people in, I think that if you don't automatically, and it's okay if you don't, right? You guys do, I do, we have, I have a kind of a feel for social media myself. We have a team, obviously, but you guys do. Not everybody does. So let's just say someone watches you, buys into what you're saying, believes it, but they don't themselves, they have a face for radio, or, what I mean by that is, they just don't want to do it themselves. They're not good at it. They're not natural at it. Well, then find someone who is. Hire somebody that can help you, or find somebody who you can speak to, you have access to, that is good at that. And I think to figure out how you can develop that online presence that's going to, be for you. Somebody doesn't have to imitate what someone else is doing. They just have to figure out, this is real important. They have to figure out why it's working. Instead of trying to copy somebody, figure out why what they're doing is working. Why is it resonating? And then get the spirit of it. You know what I mean? So I think that people can do, and that can come in many different ways. It doesn't have to come in, have dealers that have hired us. I didn't even know this in some case. And then we started having people ask us if they could do it. Some of the videos that we're doing, we're working with hundreds of dealers with Facebook projects all over the nation. I've had 3 in the last 4 weeks tell me, you're the face of our dealership. Because I'm doing so many videos for them, they're paying us, and I didn't know that. And they said, literally, can you do this video for me as well? Can you do this video? And what I mean by that is we're doing so much marketing for them with a specific area that they've adapted that as some of their other marketing that's outside of the events that we're doing. Wow. So my point is that they're, and one guy told me is that he runs 3 stores and, extremely successful as a car guy. I said, I just, that's just not my deal, my personality. He said, but man, you know what? You've resonated with these people in this area. So we're going to make you the face of the dealership. I'm like, great. And if my point is that's an example. It doesn't have to be a person that's the face, but what is your face? What is your brand? What are you going to do to tackle that area in social media? So I'd say that if you're bringing them in, if you have some salespeople that are that way, embrace them, and maybe if you have someone that's really good at it, imagine having someone like when Sean Hayes was a salesperson working for you, right? Imagine having someone that was really good at it. Instead of just letting him do it, if you're a dealer out there, a manager, what about embracing that person and starting a division where that person kind of points it, and then they're the point person and they develop a strategy for your dealership. Find the talent within inside of it and empower them. If you have someone you can trust there and you have someone, go to them, sit down with them. I'm going to tell you something. Just from a leadership standpoint, guys, that's how I've started growing as a company. When I stopped thinking that I had all the answers, that I had to have my finger on everything, and then just begin to collaborate and empower. And if your vision's big, it takes people. I can't be the end all be. It takes people, and then people want to be empowered to do what they do. And so, I don't know if hopefully that kind of tackled some of it, but I would encourage people to, to really explore some of those options.
I love that answer. You actually brought some nuggets in there that I'm taking note on big time. And, it's some of that stuff may even seem obvious, but it takes experience to know what you're talking about there. You've been through it. What the different styles are by doing this and that. I love that you said you can't be the end all know all. And the thing is it's hard to sometimes. All of us X Factor folks, all of us A-type people, we love to know everything. We love to try to at least learn everything, at least dabble in it and do this and try to be good at it. But you're right. The people that are the most successful build a team around them they can trust, that they can encourage to grow. Then that team grows. So it just turns into just one beautiful machine that works so well together, right? Yeah. And to build up your team, I loved how you brought up the point of having somebody like Sean Hayes on the floor that's just a dynamite salesperson when he was out there selling cars, and he's still dynamite doing what he's doing out there in Virginia right now. I love Sean Hayes. He's definitely doing some amazing stuff, but all done through social media, building his brand, build a brand, right? And he's definitely just very much exactly the type of person. If you have that in your store, why not have him take over that department, have him build something up? Because that's going to help him grow, which is going to help you grow, which is going to help your teammates grow, which is going to help your community grow, which it just keeps building on top of that from one small action, when you see something like that. And that is really, really, really good points, folks. I hope you guys heard what he just said there. I hope you guys have somebody in your store that maybe that just made you go, you know what? Wow, that was a great idea, because it really is. And he just gave you guys that tip for free. So
Ding bong. Get you some of that.
But no, I think that's great. I think that is great. And obviously you're talking about dealers across the nation that you're using, and some of them are wanting you to be the face and the voice of their store. And that's an amazing thing that you've been able to build something like that. And that's because your message is true. I watch your videos, and when I watch your videos, it's from here. I could tell it's from the heart. Mm-hmm. I think so when you translate that into clients looking to come into a dealership, and you can bring that same type of feeling. Oh, man, that brings a lot of relief, and the world needs relief right now, folks. So the more you can do that, the better. And we always need relief. I don't care if it's coronavirus. I don't care if it's election year. It could be next year and it's completely perfect. We still need that. Everybody needs that. Somebody's going to hear that message. It's going to change their life. So make sure you guys keep pushing positive out there. And that's what it's about.
Don't be percolating problems, people.
That's it. Push positive. Right. So we've had some people jump on this morning. I haven't had a chance to say hi. We had Brian Norris. He says, Buenos dias, cafeteros.
Hola.
Yeah, what's up, Brian? What's going on? Let's do this. Anthony Santangelo says, David Villa in the house.
Yes,
yo.
Sir.
What's up, Anthony? It's good to see you, buddy. Charles Higgins says, David Villa. Newton Motor Group says hi. Must be one of your clients, maybe?
Yeah. Jason Monahan. Yeah. Jason and Katie and Ryan Martin and Matt Castro. Yeah, they're up in Tennessee. Number one, their Gallatin store, number one Nissan store in Tennessee.
Really?
So we got a long-time client.
That is awesome. That's really
Jason's
awesome.
Jason Monahan, man. He'd be a good guy to get on too. He does all the marketing for their whole group, like 4 stores. And he's a Christian, good guy. And he must follow you guys too. So there you
awesome.
go. Someone following you guys, because there's someone following you. I know his heart, man. I know why he's following you now. So
that's awesome. And then Terry Torline, good friend of ours, the 3 F's: faith, family, and friends. He came up with the new 3 F's, and I love it. Beautiful. Faith, family, friends. Bam. How important is those 3 words? And then Stella Cox says, good. Now, let's get back to it, man. So we have our 5th question coming up, David. And I love this question because through all this business that you've done, the business of life, the business of, faith, the business of everything that we're going through, what has been the greatest reward for you? I know that you've been given probably tons of things. You've had friends come to you. You've taught people things. But there's something that probably stands out that's been like, man, all this work that I put in, this has been my greatest reward. What would that be? By far my kids and the legacy. And I say that, with blown away humility, meaning, in spite, because, when my kids were younger, and I'm kind of like Lou there, I have my youngest is 19, she'll be 20 in a couple of weeks, and she's engaged. She's getting married next year. But my son's 25 and my oldest daughter's 27. She's the one with the baby, and she's been married for since 2014. But anyway, so when they were younger, building this business, I didn't have my priorities straight. It was for a long time when two of my oldest were younger. I mean, I was a guy working like 80 hours a week, and just not around as much. Didn't make the games, come late at the end, make excuses, things like that. But so there's a lot of that going on. So in spite of all of that, watching God move into, and touch them, and they've come out to be amazing children, blessed by that, serving God and so forth. And just, I think that's got to be the biggest. It's not the money, we have a lot of things that we do. We have our primary business where we sell, marketing. That's our business that does, multiple millions of dollars a year. And then we have our training business. That's also like that, Auto Deal University. But the other things I do because again, faith gear and faith-based selling, these things that we do are more to touch, people's lives money's a tool, I really feel that way. And I think that if you ever come to the realization that, the Bible says money answereth all things. If you realize that, I think that God he'll put more in your hand, that you have to start figuring out what to do with it. Meaning that, he'll do it because he wants you to be a conduit. He wants you to be, blessing, and to touch people's lives. And so he'll find a way to channel it through you. And, but those aren't the things that are most rewarding. It's really the family and the legacy, and just seeing that those are the things that matter. None of my children, my son-in-law is my VP of marketing here, but none of my children are following, and they all worked here at different times, but they're not following the business, even though they could have, and they could have had an easy life without respect, but they're doing their own thing. They're following their callings, and they're not motivated by money, and so
I'm very grateful for that. That's the number one thing by far right there.
That's
Wow.
so big. That's
a great
what
answer.
Your children take with them is that whatever it is, take money out of it. What is it that heaven's called you to be? What is it that you're created to be? Take the money away.
Yeah.
Gift will make room for you.
Yep.
And on the business side, of course, again, we tried to touch it a little earlier, where we all have been given a gift, and he doesn't take away his gifts. God doesn't take away his gifts. We've all been given the power to gain wealth. And when Solomon got the chance to ask for anything, he already had that power to gain wealth. He asked for wisdom, right? And inside of that, you've gained wisdom over your time and your exposure in the business and how to prioritize those things. And it's not because you've never screwed up that you don't know how to explain.
It's because you screwed up plenty of times.
It's because
things out.
those things worked for your good, for you to know what to not do and sow that into somebody. You don't want to lead people down a path where they're going to have to repeat your mistakes. That's one thing I try to say to my kids. Hey, I want you to make a whole fresh bag of mistakes. Just don't make mine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't make mine. Make your own. Learn from them, and let's do this life together. But you shouldn't make my mistakes, right? I've already told you that it was a mistake. And so when you're being hired in a business, you're helping them get to where it is that they want to go, and rewarding. Again, folks, that presence is at the house. That's the reward. What comes from that place is ultimately the most cherished and the most precious thing. Those relationships over our revenue. It's so,
Amen.
Man, I can talk about that all day, and I love it. I love it.
I love it.
This has been so
Hey, I got to meet you guys soon, man. I love you guys. I really am glad that we got a chance to talk in this last month and a couple of different my podcasts and now yours, because you guys are the real deal. I really love what you're doing. I love your spirits.
It's the same way, and the feeling is so mutual, and that's why it's so awesome to have you on the show. I know that we're both very busy. I know between our shows and all the interviews we're doing, between which you do much more than just your show. You're doing a whole bunch more. We obviously do too. We work at a dealership. We work full-time hours, the whole nine. Mm-hmm. And we do this for love. Like you mentioned, it's not about the money for us for this show at all.
Right.
If it was, we would have quit very beginning. We're not, but we do this because we love it. We love sending good messages out there. We love sharing people's stories. And that's what the show's transformed into. It's a storytelling show. It's a testimony show. It's a place where people come on here, talk about the goods and the bads that they've went through, and then be able to see where they're at and and at the end, we talked about your greatest reward. What came of all this? What was the thing that, made you, so it all, and what's crazy is a lot of times the greatest reward is very similar to their why, right? Yeah. And that's what's so beautiful, because we all work so hard. We wake up, you get up early, you do these things, you do the extra reps, you do all these things that most people just don't want to do. They're like, yeah, I'm just going to take that day off, or I'm not going to go out there and make that extra phone call. I'm not going to get online and do that extra video today. But that's the difference, is that we try to do those things because we do it from our heart. Because honestly, I believe that, just like you, if just one person hears the message today and it helps them, and it turns into something, and it blossoms, and then they touch other people, it's a big effect that just becomes something beautiful. But it just takes that one. And I don't, even if it's just for me, I may be the only one who heard the message today. I may be the one that got excited, but it helped me. And so one way or the other, there's help and there's love, because I'm going to go out and I'm going to share love with people today. I'm going to make sure that other people are, understand that life is an amazing thing, and that we got so much that we have ahead of us. That if you don't open your eyes, you may just miss. That's right. You need to open those eyes, because it's everywhere. There's so many things in life that you can have gratitude for. A lot of people don't. Glenn Lundy does a great job with his Morning Five. He talks about waking up and getting down with the gratitude immediately, right? Mm-hmm. And I absolutely have taken that into my game, where I do it in the morning mentally. I don't write it down in the morning. And then in the afternoon, while I'm at work, in the middle of the day, I make sure that I write down my gratitude. I write it down.
Amen.
Because I believe that, halfway through my day, I might get a little stressed. I do finance in a finance box that does a lot of subprime. So it's like, it can get stressful in there.
You're chasing steps.
Chasing steps, you're trying to make sure this is done. People are doing welcome calls. So I have to write my gratitude down. I write down what's important to me, what's so great about my life. And then it turns everything that I'm doing, even if I'm stressed out, it makes me go, it's worth everything. It's that middle word on your t-shirt, guys. Focus. I mean, and then, you know what, I would even say, put the word RE in front of it, right? I mean, it's focus, and then all through the day, refocus. It's just refocus. And that's the beauty of it. Cause look, as believers, the enemy's job, and I know we gotta, you guys gotta go, but the enemy's job, in my opinion,
one of the verses I've analyzed for years, he comes to steal, kill, destroy. He can't kill and destroy you. I think he's given up on you on that when you are, become a Christ follower, you're covered by the blood, but he can steal your joy, steal your peace. And he brings distraction throughout the day. His job is just to slow you down, get you off track, and make you distracted in whatever the things are. And I just think refocus is real big. It's hard because we're in the middle of it when you have a bad day or you have a bad deal go south or you have something, frustrated.
Forgive, right?
It's like refocus. And it's not easy. It's a lot easier said right now than it is done when at 2 o'clock today, 3 o'clock today, when, we're not having the day we want to have. And I'm frustrated and I'm like, all right, so how I respond to salespeople, it's all about refocusing. And so it's a lot easier when you're winning, but when you're having a frustrating day and it's not easy. It is, but it's necessary. So
it's growth, and that's those things, folks. If you're out there and you have those days where you actually get on your salespeople because you get stressed out yourself, just take a moment and breathe. Breathe and relax and use that gratitude in your mind, even if you have to go through I'm breathing, my family's great, my son's healthy, my wife is beautiful, she takes care of me, I have friends that absolutely I love hanging out with. There's so many things that you can just sit there and close your eyes and just imagine are amazing and then get right back into it. That's what I do. I don't know what you guys are doing out there, but that's what I do. I try to sit there and just super focus on that when I get stressed. And it really helps because the last thing I need to do is scream at a salesperson over nothing. Over spilt milk, right? And then that changes their day. Now they're negative. Now they're going to go home mad at, Fred was a jerk today at work. And I don't know if I want to work there anymore. Even though we all go through that. Now that negativity spreads so fast like wildfire.
Yeah.
Or positivity, something I learned a long time ago was like when someone is negative, they'll talk about negative forever. They'll tell everybody about a negative thing. But when it's something positive, they share it for a moment, but it doesn't share that much. So it's hard to spread positive as much as it is negative. Now, so you have to do so much positive to make up for that negative. Well, it's simple. Just don't get into that negative. When you have a negative moment, just throw positive on it. It's crazy how fast it washes away all the negativity. It's a beautiful thing. And that's the beauty of life. That's the beauty of your brain. That's the beauty of the power of the Lord. That's the beauty of all kinds of things, right? So use that energy.
So negativity spreads. So then the positivity covers. It's kind of like what I just heard you say. The negativity spreads, but then, and you're like, oh, it's out of hand. But then positivity covers it and the grace of God it's amazing. It's just like eats it. It could cover it and be like, aha, I just covered all that negativity in one, swoop.
That's
so being positive might not spread as much, but it covers it.
Right.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Drop of dawn into the grease, right?
There you go.
Exactly. So I know that I know you're short on time. I know you're a busy man, but before we go, I wanted to at least get some information about your company, about how they can reach you if they're looking to try to bring their dealership up a little bit. What's the best way to do that, and what can you offer them?
Sure. So we do. So it's IPD Agency is the company that I'm the CEO of. We do direct mail and we do speaking of subprime, we do a kind of like a Cap One style program. We have a lot of digital that goes along with it. So we do direct mail for hundreds of dealers a month, and then we also do Facebook events. It's different than Facebook marketing. It's an event. We have an in-house BDC here and everything that sets appointments with that. So we do those for dealers. And we actually are launching a virtual BDC in January. More to come on that. And then Auto Dealer University is our training platform. We have a few hundred dealers on that. We add about 35 or 40 a month. We have 1,500 plus videos. We have certified trainers, like 39, 40 trainers, Glenn Lundy, people like that we bring in once a month and they add content and they're a certified trainer, the platform. And then those are the products for dealers that we do. Again, we do have, faith gear, faith-based selling, but those are things that are for anyone that's outside of the industry or in more individual training. This faith-based sales training is like 600 videos in that platform. To be honest with you guys, I wanted to put it out. The Auto Dealer University is a dealer platform that's is for the whole team, but faith-based selling, if you're a Christian individual and you want some good faith-based sales training, it's not a moneymaker. I'm not trying to make money on it. We're charging something because I think there's value there. Obviously, it's $99 for the whole between now and the end of 2021.
Oh, wow.
So it's a no brainer. Yeah. I mean, and that's it. And it's, somebody said, how long will that last? To be honest with you, it's, I'm not doing it to make money. I'm doing it to impact. And it's called faith-based selling. It's faithbasedselling.com. And it's $99 one time. And you get it through the end of 2021. And there's, I think, 500 or 600 videos covering sales in there. And so, anyway, and there's lessons and quizzes and things like that. It's our online training platform, but
It's huge.
I think that is amazing. And you're right. It's not that type of message. You're like you said, it's not about the money to you. It's about, getting that out there. I love that. With all the work you've done, all the rewards that you've had, and everything that you've built up over the last 25 years plus, you have been able to do something like this, be able to put your face. I love how you talked earlier, and I don't mean to talk too much longer, but I loved how earlier you said you were a Christian in a business. Now you are a Christian business, and you've been able to transform all that around to be able to do something like faith-based selling and be able to train people on how to do it the right way. Not necessarily the right way, but the way that you believe is a great way, right? Because I'm sure it's the right way. But, of course, there's always the one thing about life is the one thing I always say is there's always room for improvement, right? So I'm sure just like in faith-based selling, man, I love that name. I just love that website. That's a really cool way of putting it. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited that you're doing that. I didn't know you were doing that. So I'm going to go to the website and check that out myself and, see if I can help spread the message on that a little bit too, because that is huge.
Yeah,
we appreciate you
here because this is like something that, in my earlier days, I would, be praying for. And now we're years down the road and, you're on our show and we're promoting that, I see the Father doing so much. It's rocking my heart as I'm speaking right now. But I, for the audience and for those of you that are listening and that are out there and want to make moves and not excuses, the tools are out there. If you want it, you can have it. Seek it out and you'll find it. That's one thing about the truth. If you diligently seek it wholeheartedly, you will find it. So there's no excuse. You can go find it. Welcome to the digital age, folks. And I want to definitely encourage all of you that if you're not winning, it means it's not over yet. You have an opportunity to do some great things. And I want to encourage you all to go forgive, focus, fly, be the game changer in the world that you are in the game that you're playing, and go make some great things happen. Keep brewing solutions, upshift and uplift businesses. That's right. And make sure that you are sounding the trumpets that solutionaries are rising, and you are one of them. Car guys and car gals, I am so thankful that we've had the opportunity to be with the beloved David Villa right here. Woo! And I am so excited for more conversations. Guys, we got to get some more with him. We got to get some more time with you, David.
Definitely. We're looking forward to meeting you one day, actually sitting down and just having a great conversation, having a dinner or something to that nature. But I love this interview. I'm glad that we're on your show. Like you said, we finally got to connect over this past couple weeks, and it's been an amazing connection. I feel like we're all on the same wavelength. We're definitely trying to send that similar message, and I think it's great because the more people that could do this message, it's better. Now, folks, if you're out there and I'll
shoot you guys a text too. I'm going to shoot you guys a text so we can stay in contact. I know we're on Facebook and stuff, but I want to make sure that we connect personally. So I'll shoot you guys a text.
Let's definitely do that. So all you guys out there that are on the fence of almost wanting to do something like this, and you have a message that's just of faith and of love, do it. Because there's the reason why you feel it is because God is pulling you that way. It's time for you to do it. Don't worry about how perfect your hair looks, how the video looks, none of that. It's just about taking that first step and just trying to spread love across this world. And let's just keep doing that, folks, because the more we do it, the better this world's going to be, the better the car business will be too. Speaking of the car business, folks, we had a great time. He's flying with us right now. All right. So, folks, you guys have a great day. We're going to drop the outro video, and we'll see you all later.
We'll see you all, David. Thank you.
David, if you want to hang out afterwards, you can. If not, I understand you're a busy man. We'll talk to you later.
All right, brother. I'll text you guys.
Later, bro. Love you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Focus. Fly. Keep growing. Guys, what a great show. What an honor to have such a great person from his heart. He genuinely just trying to help people. But folks, this brew was brought to you by Elite FI Partners. Woo! www.elitefipartners.com. And of course, we also have our sponsor.
Think.
Where's my logo?
Ad Group.
Think Ad Group. www.thinkadgroup.com. You see it flashing up there in the corner right now. Now, Think Ad Group, great people. Make sure you guys reach out to them. www.thinkadgroup.com. Folks, man, what a blessed morning we had. I'm so excited about today. I'm ready to go get this day going, get to the dealership and crush the day.
Crush it.
We'll see you guys on Sunday night live. Man, we may have a special guest. We may not. I'll let you guys know. I'm actually working on a few other people. Next week's going to be another amazing lineup, folks. We got some really good people coming on the show that I'm super excited about having. And get ready for it. Next week, we will be having one of the days. I don't know what day it is yet. But if you guys have heard of Jeff, the GM guy, right? That's yeah. That's the man, Jeff Hunter. Make sure you guys check him out. We're working on getting him on the show. He threw out, I don't know if you saw that video yesterday, but he threw a nice shout out. He talked about the best car sales podcasts out there, and he gave us a mention. He probably brought up about 5 or 6 of them, and he brought us up out of the 5. I was like, whoa, and he put us in with some really great names. So that lets me know that our message is getting out there, which got me super excited because he's all the way in Canada, and he's showing us love. So thank you so much, Jeff, and we'll be seeing you next week sometime. Sir. He's supposed to let me know what day works best for him, but we're going to get it done. We'll get him on the show. But that's just one person, folks. We got all kinds of people. I have all kinds of people. I know this morning, David Munford, he messaged me wanting to come on the show. I know we've been talking about getting him on the show, Mr. Red Glasses himself. We're going to get him on here. He wants to tell us the story, his whole thing, because he just wants to tell the story of how he got in this business and what he's been, his whole journey of this business. So I'm excited about having him on the show soon.
You got people you want to hear on the show? You want to see on the show?
Let us know who.
Go ahead and comment them. Tag them. Let them know that they should be part of the Brewing Solutions culture, right? We are trying to caffeinate the culture and bring that caffeinated consistency to the whole world. Again, we are so thankful and excited that we have the chance to be with great solutionaries like David and all the other guests, our sponsors. Thank you so much. All of those that are just trying. I'm
going to tell you, all these people we're naming, they are
Car Guy Coffee.
That's right. And I could tell you, David Villa, 100% Car Guy Coffee approved. No doubt about it. I'm so glad we had him on the show this morning. You saw him drinking his coffee as he had he had them bring in his little Starbucks. I love his team. That's what he's doing there with the teammates. That's what we want to build up. We want to build a business where we can have people working with us, building up a team, allowing them to be creative and all that type of stuff. So we're going to get there, folks.
Definitely
we just need you guys to keep listening in, clicking in, and sharing. Sharing is so key for us, guys. Sharing is caring right now, and it means a lot. And we're going to move on. We're going to go on with our day. You guys have a great day. We're super excited about everything. We appreciate you guys. I'm going to leave you guys with one more Elite F&I video.